Okay, yeah. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Have a loading screen. And here's a 2-minute cutscene. Enjoy. I'll be back. Ah, professionalism. Yeah, this is Spyro, a hero's tale. Or it will be in the next minute and a half. For now, I'd say it's time to enjoy ourselves, but I think sitting on ass and looking at this cutscene for the 600th time is kind of far from enjoyment. And this isn't even the last time we're gonna see this marathon, since there will be a 100% run. Yay, whatever. Anywho, yeah, this is a thing you have to deal with every time you reset, or every time you start a run, or any time you do anything. Anyway, this sets up the whole game. There's this new evil dragon, Red. He planted the dark gems all over the realms and fucking whatever. So first we're gonna go see Moneybags after I run the hell out of that door. Okay, and we start here, finally. So this is the actual final fucking gameplay here. Over there's Moneybags, but you know, we don't really care about him. We're just gonna take a little bit of a shortcut. So this is something a little bit unusual for a Spyro game, or fuck you. This is, I think, the only Spyro game that has an infinite jump of any kind, and it's not even an infinite jump technically, but it's kind of what we call it if it would work in this century, which naturally it won't. This is actually very hard to do with only a single jump. Generally you would be doing this with double jump, but we don't have that from the start. You have to talk to Elder Thomas and go through a bunch of cutscenes and other garbage to get it. So it is extremely slow, just like this double jump list right here is extremely slow. Good thing I have a 50-minute estimate. We might be here for another day and a half. There we go. Okay. We're good. Okay, so that there was water. This is another unique thing in this Spyro game. Water planes have actual depth, which is something that is definitely not true for any other Spyro game. Well, at least the 4 proper ones before this, 1, 2, 3, and 4, or Enter the Dragonfly, if you will. Water planes for some reason were given depth, and that makes swim in air in this game kind of a hilarious joke. And of course more cutscenes. I guess it wasn't obvious, these are unskippable. But yeah, I took that swim in air there to skip about 3 cutscenes and collecting 10 dark gems and 8 light gems, which is quite a skip. And here's the first boss. Yeah. First boss in many ways, more ways than one. Nasty Nork is back, and he's a thing, I guess. So one thing to mention probably at this point would be that this category isn't very exciting. It consists of the most boring bosses ever made, and barely any proper platforming gameplay, because you can just skip to everything, everywhere. So this is gonna be the most exciting boss. I'm just gonna damage boost here to skip an attack. Yeah, thanks. So the insane thing with the bosses in this game is that they all have like 9 hit points, except for the last one, which has, well, more of a, I don't know what to call it, a different health bar, I guess. Also, I just jumped over that and I shouldn't have, but who cares? It's a joke run. Memes. So apparently I beat him, except, you know, no. Now we wait for a little bit, because I really want to die. Don't take that phrase out of context. Again, damage boost to skip an attack. Excitement! But that death abuse at the start of the second phase here actually skipped an attack altogether. As in, it never happened. He never went to do that attack. And that's why that death abuse is actually fast, instead of being something that would so obviously lose time. You know, paying attention is something that most people would do in a speedrun, but I think I'm above such pointless things. But that's basically what the whole boss is built around, is damage boost, and then you death abuse at the start of a phase and you're good to go. It's not very exciting. I think the bosses are easily the worst part of this game, and the any percent consists of bosses. Yay. Anyway, second verse, same as the first, you death abuse. Exciting, I know. But this phase is actually a little bit different, because apparently he pulled the power of lightning out of his ass, and he's gonna be using that now. Except, well, I mean, it's still boring. And the different thing is, you can't just damage boost to skip those attacks altogether. You actually have to wait through all of them. Which is strange and annoying. Anyway, since there's a butterfly here, I get to skip at least one of these attacks. Because I do want to leave this boss with full sparks. As in full health. That attack can be kind of a pain if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so that's the end of the boss. It's been 5 minutes and we've done a grand total of basically nothing. But, you know, basically nothing is gonna be the theme of the next 3 hours. Oh boy, since this will be followed by the most empty 2-hour speedrun. It's not even funny. I wish it was funny. You can hear the fucking mouse clicking, probably. Yeah, that's me being invested in this run. Yeah. Anyway, you stand on this platform because it loads the next chunk. A lot of games had this, and still do have this, where there's something you do for a little bit, or like a little thing you go through. So they don't have to have loading screens. You just have this thing you wait on for it to load the next chunk. Now I'm gonna pick this up for safety, because it's gonna auto-save me. Otherwise it wouldn't save my file anywhere. And the reason this is actually really important is because if I happen to get something really fun after I teleport here, it'll be kind of a problem, kind of a huge problem. I would have to restart the entire run, but thankfully that egg is there to autosave for us, and that's really great. Except I would still lose an eternity and a half. We'll see if it happens, and if it doesn't happen, then it's good. Good job. But I predicted it will predict that it will happen at least once throughout the marathon, because there are, 4 hours of this game here and there. So it did not happen. I'm playing on the Xbox 360 version, which is a good thing to mention, 10 minutes into the run already, going into the specifics of the run. I'm on Xbox 360, which is the fastest version. Specifically, NTSC would be faster, but I'm on PAL due to, being filthy European. On Xbox 360, the game doesn't exactly run very stable, so the game can crash on every single loading screen. So anytime you teleport, anytime you transition into something, it's got a very good chance of crashing. Relatively speaking, good chance. Also, this cutscene is another fucking like 3 minutes of nothing, so enjoy that. But yeah, the PS2 version of this game is not really very viable, as it can't do the double jump skip I did at the start of the run. It loses a ton of time. The loading screens, collision is different, so the end game is harder to do. A lot of things. GameCube version is identical to this except for loads, but oh my god, I almost get to play the game for anyway. So once again, the skip into the next boss is just hilariously easy. This is not a very solid game. But what would you expect from the legendary developers? Eurocom also, fucking thank you. Do that more, please. I did that in practice 7 times in a row. Usually this is a first try trick, so that's really annoying. Anyway, yeah, you go out of bounds here, and you glide here a little bit. You swim here a little bit, and you swim more. You want to swim next to that tunnel, because it loaded something there, as you can see. That's the boss arena, which is loaded. And there's a unique thing here that doesn't happen with any of the other bosses in the game. There's some sort of weird trigger here that just sort of places you into the boss. Don't ask me why, because this is the only boss where this is even a thing. Well, technically no. Red does have a boss trigger like that, but you can only trigger it after you've watched the cutscene, so you'd have to enter Red and then leave Red. Red being the third boss. Who cares? It's not relevant to the run and nobody cares anyway, so haha, shut the fuck up. Anyway, this is the second boss in Neptune. She sort of swims around in a circle and does stuff. Thank God this is the longest boss in the game. Isn't that exciting? Anyway, there's not much to this fight, you just sort of do stuff. Like, I wish I could make this exciting with commentary. No, there's nothing I can do. There is no salvaging this fucking train wreck. We're gonna sit here for the next 3 minutes at least, and then there's another cutscenes of more like 4, maybe even 5 minutes. Anyway, there was supposed to be an introductory cutscene to this boss, but obviously I skipped it. Probably should have said that I skipped something coming in here through the boss trigger, quote unquote. But this is a serious run. I'm gonna go more in depth and actually take shit seriously in my Hero Still 100% run, which is actually a proper speedrun where you do stuff, so it's actually something I don't hate doing. Also, the fact that it's 4 in the morning helps my case a lot. Yeah, thanks, DomDoms at BM. I appreciate it. this because I don't care. It's just... You may have noticed that this is literally the same thing over and over again. And you wouldn't be wrong. This is the same phase 9 times. It does not change it up even a little bit. Not even a slight amount of change here and there. There's one phase where there's like 2 lasers stacked up on top of each other. Like, yay. Beyond that, there's just nothing. Like, who designed this boss fight? I would very much like to know. Was it the same guy that designed like the fucking challenges for Crash Bash? The guy who thought it was okay to make platinum relics a thing? I bet it was the same guy. Such a shame that the 80% of this game is just like literal nothingness, because this is a brilliantly broken game, and a lot of that gets shown off, you know, in the 100% run. In this run you don't see that much of it. You just see that you can easily enter every single boss without fucking making an effort. And that's it. Which is nice, I guess. Not many games even have that. But you wouldn't think a game where you skip everything would still take 40 minutes. Like Spyro 2 is less than 10 minutes, and this is basically the equivalent of Spyro 2's 80%. You collect nothing, you go straight into the bosses. You don't even have to like get a fireball power up, you don't do anything like that. It's just, this game is packed with unskippable cutscenes, so it's kind of a pain. Anyway. This is intended, completely. Now, enjoy the blurry cutscene because water effects. If you charge into the water like that, on PS2 you die as soon as this cutscene starts, but on Xbox you actually save a lot of time. Because it spawns you in the water instead of on the platform. So you'll see that in the next 3 years when this pain ends.
Thank you for releasing me. As a token of my gratitude, I will grant you the power of water breath.
Oh, cool, another breath type. What can I do with this?
You can use your water breath to move some
Anyway, I actually can't exit through this proper exit for the boss fight that they made for me. Because the boss cutscene is actually still there, and I can even watch it during the boss if I feel like going there. But no, we're gonna just, you know, make our own way out. Yeah, thanks. If you charge out of water and bonk on a specific kind of wall, usually corners like that, you can just go straight through. Like, it doesn't even present a slight challenge, you just go through like it's hilarious. That's how we get out of there without watching the cutscene. It's not only faster, but achieves that end as well. And we didn't crash, yay. Anime, yeah, that's a word. Anime. Anyway. Third hub. We've collected an egg, which we didn't need. That's it. I've so far skipped, what is it? Skipped 20 dark gems, but how many light gems? I don't think you need any more than 8. I think the next light gem requirement is the 40 required for supercharge, which is in this hub. So I'm gonna be skipping the 32 light gems next. And another 10 dark gems, so 30 dark gems and 40 light gems.
Stand guard over there and make sure nobody gets past you. If you let me down, you know what will happen.
Alright, now we've entered hub 3. And this unlocks some secret things. Some things that shouldn't be unlocked by entering Hub 3 at all. It unlocks all Hub 1 abilities, so in this game you're supposed to like go around the levels and actually collect stuff, and there's a goal in every level to talk to elders to learn new abilities, like the double jump, which, yeah, I don't remember talking to an elder at any point. Yeah, doesn't really ring a bell. For some reason, for some odd, absolutely retarded reason that is so convenient that I can't help but feel that it had to have been completely intended, which makes no sense because it's impossible to even leave Hop 1 without double jump, or the other ability I'm talking about, which is pole spin. You unlock both of those just by entering this hub, and that is the most convenient thing to happen since ever. Because not only do you need double jump to skip into red, it's not possible to get in here without it, but you also need pole spin to leave red.
No matter. I will deal with you now.
It is
I was hoping it would be
amazing how many coincidences just lined up
Am I supposed to be scared of
that
you?
I just fucking, I'm completely certain that someone at Eurocon was just like, yeah, let's make this a thing.
then. Prepare, young dragon, to be taught a lesson.
So shoutouts to that guy, whoever that guy was. Oh yeah, a boss fight. So this is Red, the third boss, mentioned earlier. For no particular reason that is relevant to anything. This guy is annoying. Casually, probably the hardest boss. But this isn't casual, so nobody cares. And that's the aim of the fight. Of course, all phases are the same. Of course. Well, not really. They change it up, actually, a little bit. And I'm gonna take a safety death abuse on this.
Hope I'd fight better than you when I'm your age.
This loses a little bit of time, because there's like a faster death abuse you can do on the next phase, but who cares? I don't want to die here. Anyway, the real reason this boss is annoying is because this boss has RNG. Of course. Someone has to have it. And it's this fucking boss. You can lose 30 to 40 seconds on this phase, depending on what he decides to do, so we're gonna see if he decides to be an asshole. Anyway, not a lot of people really know this casually, but you can just, like, flame these. Okay, no, he didn't do his thing. If Red flies up like that, like a fucking dick, he can avoid damage entirely. Isn't that something a champion like him would do? That is great. That is commendable. I love everything. At least I get to show off the fail state. This is where a run gets reset immediately. Normally. Fuck you.
Well, well,
Love it.
well. You do
No, I
have
don't.
the fire in you, but don't think you're any match against my
So yeah, here's the last phase of the fight, where for some reason, thankfully, but still for some reason, they removed the RNG element here. He doesn't fly up anymore to avoid the crates. Which is strange, you think they'd keep it from the second phase onward, but no, they dumped it. Probably because it would have been the most annoying thing to do this like 3 times. Because that could be a likely thing that can happen if you fail this shit. Anyway, here's a new attack. It's actually kinda neat. Except, well, you just run in a circle, and then it stops being neat. And we do 9 of these again, because, you know, why not? Anyway, I really didn't say much about this, but I used the water breath to stun him to make him not blow up the barrels. Because that's what he's doing fucking every time he faces a barrel. Great. Same thing, it's 4 in the morning. I get to say whatever the hell I want. He doesn't blow up crates if I stun him with water. You can also do that with electric breath, but electric breath has this tendency to snap onto things like the crates, and it blows it up, so don't do that. But yeah, that's the red fight. It's easily the biggest pain in the ass, casually and in the speedrun. You'd think the final boss would be worth a shit, but it really isn't. Anyway, as mentioned earlier, I need pole spin to get out of here. And for some reason, just entering Hub 3 gives you both of the Hub 1 abilities. Specifically the Hub 1 abilities. You don't get Wing Shield from Hub 2. Which is great, because that ability is not used for a damn thing in the entire game. Like, even casually, you can skip using it. I don't know if you can skip getting it casually without like doing a proper skip, but you know. It's probably one of the easiest to skip, even if you have no idea what you're doing. Anyway, yeah, I just used an ability I shouldn't know to get out of there. Awesome. And out we go to the final hub, which is very different. And the game didn't crash yet, that's good. This final hub is a series of linear levels that you go through, which is very different to the open world thing that... It's not really open world, it's free roaming, that kind of theme that the rest of the game has going on.
Spyro, I've got an idea where
Which is... I'm not sure if I should say strange, because it's not really strange. Like, makes sense, but it's just... I feel like it's a terrible change to do at the end of a game to make it like completely different. Anyway, since it's still just like completely linear levels, it doesn't change anything. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still swimming through all of it because it is a Spyro game. And as established earlier, we can just sort of go through solid matter, so let's do that. I mean, let's fucking do it. Okay, thanks. So here we go. This hub is usually one of the longest ones to do. Yeah, this is gonna take a while, I'm sure. It's one way to get to the volcano. I have to go inbound here because there's a load trigger inside this dragon mouth thing. It loads the next level, otherwise it wouldn't load. Yes, that is the very definition of a load trigger, you ass. Anyway, this level is massive. This is Molten Mount. It's not gonna be massive for very long, but it is a massive level, trust me. Like, this is a huge cave that goes around and takes like 50 hours to go through. As you can clearly tell from the way it's taking me forever to swim to the end. And here we are. I'm gonna try something that I discovered earlier. You can actually load this whole damn thing from out of bounds. You know what you're doing, which I have no idea what I'm doing. Is it loaded? No, it's not loaded, so I'm just gonna ignore myself and just do it the casual way. Because that's totally casual. Hello? Yeah, that elevator has to be loaded. Otherwise, you can't do what I'm about to do. So, you're supposed to take that elevator down to the next level, but since I have other means of transportation, I'm just gonna... This requires a bit of focus, so you know. I think I loaded. Never mind, I'm in a void. There you go. And there you go. Now it's loaded. Trust me, I'm an expert. Anyway, this is Magma Falls, the next thing I'm supposed to be doing. And here's a ball gadget. This requires 8 light gems to operate, as you can clearly tell from the 8 light gems I've collected throughout the run. Yeah, no. So this is an auto-scroller. It's kind of a pain in the ass that this even exists in the run, and, you know, jumping is for fucking nerds, so why would I do that? You'd think that this being an auto-scroller would be a good thing and no time loss would ever come from this, but no. Variable cycles. Have fun dealing with that shit, Lord. So that thing can hit me. Also, that can happen if I try to go safe there. Which, there is no safe. I need to fucking get that into my head. So we could be here for some amount of time. Yeah. I wasn't looking at the screen because I'm not like doing a marathon run or anything. Anyway, here's another variable cycle at the end. You see the fireball over there. It's gonna stop here because I don't feel like dying again. Yeah. Never mind, I'm gonna die again. As I said, you'd think an auto-scroller, great. I'm an idiot, by the way. You'd think that would be a great thing to have in a run like this. Like, no worries, you get to take a break for a minute. No, you fucking don't. That's not allowed. Have some RNG cycles to spice up this run that is already a pain in the ass to get into this fucking hub. Shit. Anyway, finally! It's only the last 10 minutes of the run, if even that much. We finally get to do some proper Spyro platforming. We get to actually use the infinite jump for something. Don't get used to that, by the way. This section is very short, because of course we're going to be skipping basically everything. Anyway, this is Magma Falls bottom. It's the second part to Magma Falls. For fuck's sake. These firebirds are a pain. Safety death abuse. There's not much at this level, it's just me trying to get through as fast as possible, and there's nothing to do here to skip it. Water doesn't exist in the game anymore, as far as, well, I'm concerned. It does exist in Dark Mine, there's some of it, but it's like death water. You need invincibility to swim in it. I don't have that. Anyway, Ice Breath is good for getting rid of enemies fast. And since I have time to spare, thanks to the 50-minute estimate, I can like do a risky strat here. That'll fail me and then I'll not do it, but you know, whatever. So normally you're supposed to stand on these platforms and wait for like a long ass time. But I don't really care what the game wants from me. I'm just gonna do my own thing. And fail at it because this is fucking stupid. Yay, I did it. Like, I don't know why they made it so long, because it clearly still allows for Dark Mine to load, so, you know. Anyway, as said earlier, this is Dark Mine. This is the second last level. It's another level that's like a huge cave that goes around and takes forever to get through. And we're gonna take about a minute to get through the entirety of it. Yeah, okay. And this is the end of Dark Mine. I have to go back here to load the next level a little bit, so excuse me. And here's the entrance to the final level of the game, and soon the final boss. This is Red's Laboratory. It's another level where we just sort of do very basic platformy stuff. Skipping this thing, because that's a wall kick surface, we don't have wall kick, so... Infinite jump, second best thing. we're officially in Red's laboratory. It should bring up the thing that says so. Right about here, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Anyway. I have to kill these enemies to open these doors, otherwise they stay closed. So I'm just doing that. Haha. Anyway. This skips a little bit. You have to like go around the room. I don't feel like it, so I'm not gonna. And yes, it is faster, of course. Obviously. Push this button twice to get to the boss room. Boss naturally has a dark gem barrier in front of it. Requires 40 dark gems, which we clearly have. I mean, how else are we gonna get through that? I mean, how else could I possibly manage to get through the solid matter surrounding it? Oh right, here's a little hole. That's the only hole in the entire level. And they put it next to the final boss. I do not know what they were smoking, but I would absolutely love to have some. Sharing is caring. Anyway.
I thought I could stop him. But as soon as I got here, I was captured, locked in this lab. Red's forcing me to work on his.
I'm not kidding about that, by the way. That is the only hole in any of the walls, besides the ceilings in Red's laboratory. There are no other, like, spots like that where you can just walk out of bounds. Just so conveniently happens to be right where the final boss is. I don't get it.
Yeah, whatever. You're not so much of a challenge. I'm sure I can do it again.
Should be subbing 40 with this, I think. I don't know. Should I? I haven't had my splits going because I haven't been splitting. I just have the timer, so I know. I'm not gonna sub 40 RTA, but I'm gonna sub 40 on my timer, and that's all that counts, right? Actually, how long does this boss take? What is an English language? How the fuck do you speak it? Anyway, yeah, this is Mechared, the final boss, and we're gonna die 3 times. This spawns 3 butterflies around the room, and that's fast. Trust me, that is fast, so you know. Anyway, the first phase is a thing, I guess. I don't know. Hit me! Come on. Anyway, it spawns these rockets, you spit fire on them, they fly at Red. So, should be mentioned that this is the most varied boss, and actually the only varied boss, because it has different phases. Imagine that! Somewhat different phases, at least. Anyway, I'm I'm damage boosting through those attacks, because it's fast. Like, it takes forever for him to go into this next attack, otherwise. Anyway, he's gonna do like a thing here. And now I have to go around the room activating these electrical switch things. And that's actually really easy to fail the one cycle for this. Like, you actually have to be pretty fast with activating these switches. Anyway, here's the final phase of the fight. And it's random. Of course, it has the longest attack. It takes forever to shoot a bunch of missiles at you, none of which are obviously a threat. Anyway, this is gonna spawn a button in one of these holes randomly. It's not this one. I can use the electric breath to sort of probe in there and see if it's gonna be an enemy, because, of course, electric breath only hits the enemies through the floor. So this is a tech to cause more damage during these phases. It allows me to skip one of these. You have to do this twice. Anyway, I'm gonna do risky strats. I don't care about fighting Red again. I have time. I've got fucking all the time in the world. If I fail this. It's a good thing to mention, by the way. You start the entire fight over if you die. So, you know, don't. Maybe. This is kind of a suggestion. The button being here would be very nice right now. It is not here. It is over there. Same spot as last time. Hey. And we win. Gonna get this guy to shoot red a bunch, and he will die very soon. Oh, his timing is coming up, so you know, pay attention. Shoot him. Thanks. And time. That's a 38:37 by SDA timing, which is how we time this. Even though that's not SDA because it's not final hit on final boss. Anyway, who actually cares? Point is, I subbed 40 and you can't deny it except by the timer on this actual stream. Yeah. That actually wasn't that bad of a run. Except for everything. Everything was pretty bad.
Afraid of me now?
Oh, no, Spyro, don't do that. He doesn't deserve to get off that easy. I'll take him from here. I'm sure I can find a good use for him in my laboratory.
So here are the credits. Yay! I'm gonna watch these. No, I'm not. I'm gonna sit here for the next 5 hours and wait for the next amazing run, which is also by myself. Stay tuned for The Legend of Spyro, A New Beginning, and me probably considering suicide multiple times.